Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey,
Hello.
and the Lord of Puppies, SDA.
Hi, guys.
And our guest tonight is the Lord of Nothing, Ferg.
Hey.
And I'm your host, Scribelight, the Lord of Interruptions. How's everybody tonight?
Are you the Lord of being interrupted?
Well, yeah, I suppose. Maybe that's it. But that aside, how is everyone?
I am sore, and I'm now sad because Benson died, damn it.
Yep, Robert Guillaume has passed away. The voice of Rafiki to most of the generation that aren't me and Monkey.
Yes.
But yeah, longtime TV star and movies, and really, as far as I know, like I was telling Monkey before the stream, is one of those actors that you think of and it's like there's nothing bad to say about the guy, sort of like John Ritter. When I think of like squeaky clean actor, it's like I can't think of anything that ever counted as a scandal on the guy. John Ritter always comes to mind, and Robert Guillaume was another one of those kind of guys.
Right.
But,
I blame myself.
you blame yourself for Benson's death?
Yes. Do you remember we talked about Bill Paxton and what happened to him?
Yes.
And then not too long ago, just a few days ago, I was talking about the show Sports Night, which Robert Guillaume was on.
You didn't mention Robert Guillaume, though.
But I mentioned the show.
Well, that's a stretch.
I agree.
I'm not talking about anybody anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, bye. Monkey's leaving the show, guys.
Powerful, Monkey. As much as I love you.
Powerful, damn it.
I don't think you are.
Don't shatter my illusions.
Yeah, well, dying people aside. Hi, Ferg.
Hello. How you been?
I've been okay. Long time no talk. So for those in the audience who have absolutely no idea who you are, why don't you tell people what your channel's about and what you do?
Oh, I'm Ferg. I make mediocre videos, slightly entertaining. I always like to give my capitalistic views on things. Not an ANCAP, but I do like the free market.
Yay! And you and I, God, I can't remember. We met like shortly after when did you start doing YouTube?
It was almost the same time you and, was it Irate Bear hooked up on Minds?
Yeah, I think you had started just before me or something, because I know you were already kind of working on stuff at the time.
Yeah, I was messing around on you.
We're contemporaries, as it were. We're all part of a very select club at this point. But anyway, do we have anything we want to plug ahead of going to the schnuzz?
Yeah, I'm gonna be streaming with Clever Jester on his Twitch. After the stream. We're gonna start pretty much right after this is over. So, I believe Scribe linked that down in the description.
Yes, there's the Twitch link is down in the description. Yeah. Thank you, Point Curation. Ad for Ferg. No idea who you are, but we'll check you out.
Thanks.
Right. I will make an ad for Ferg. You know about my ads, don't you, Ferg?
Say again?
You know about my ads, don't you?
The one where they make you do things, crazy things?
Yes, that's a very good description. Yeah, especially sanguine.
Like Monkey hits himself in the nuts, is that right? Or no, Titty Twister. That's
I've done a couple of those too.
Ooh, painful.
All right, let's see. Anybody else have anything to plug otherwise, or anything else to discuss or bring up before we get to the news?
Nothing that comes to mind.
Okay.
I am good to go.
All right. Well, the first story, our top story, Clinton campaign and DNC paid for research that led to Russia dossier. And if you don't remember what the Russia dossier is, hopefully the Washington Post, which is the source of all news on the planet, by the way.
Indeed.
Because everybody sources the Washington Post these days, will probably tell us. The Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee helped fund research that resulted in a now famous dossier containing allegations about President Donald Trump's connections to Russia and possible coordination between his campaign and the Kremlin, people familiar with the matter said. Marcus E. Elias, a lawyer representing the Clinton campaign and the DNC, retained Fusion GPS, a Washington firm, to conduct the research. Fusion GPS. Why do I know that name? After that, Fusion GPS hired dossier author Christopher Steele, a former British intelligence officer with ties to the FBI and the U.S. intelligence community, according to those people who spoke on the condition of anonymity. Elias and his firm, Perkins Coie, C-O-I-E. Coie?
Sure.
Okay, Perkins Coie retained the company in April 2016 on behalf of the Clinton campaign and the DNC. Before that agreement, Fusion GPS's research into Trump was funded by an unknown Republican client during the GOP primary. An unknown Republican client. Marco Rubio. I don't know. The Clinton campaign and the DNC, through the law firm, continued to fund Fusion GPS's research through the end of October 2016, days before Election Day. Fusion GPS gave Steele's report and other research documents to Elias. The people familiar with the matter said, "It is unclear how or how much of that information was shared with the campaign and the DNC, and who in those organizations was aware of the roles of Fusion GPS and Steele." Well, I would think if they're paying for it, they would be well aware of it, but what do I know? One person close to the matter said the campaign and the DNC were not informed by the law firm of Fusion GPS's role. Okay. The dossier has become a lightning rod amid the intensifying investigations into the Trump campaign's possible connections to Russia. Some congressional Republican leaders have spent months trying to discredit Fusion GPS and Steele and tried to determine the identity of the Democrat or organization that paid for the dossier. Trump tweeted as recently as Saturday that the Justice Department and FBI should, quote, immediately release who paid for it. Elias and Fusion GPS declined to comment on the arrangement. Spokesman for the Clinton campaign and the DNC had no immediate comment. Yes, well, I bet that's called taking the fifth. Some of the details are included in a Tuesday letter sent by Perkins Coie to a lawyer representing Fusion GPS, telling the research firm that it was released from a client confidentiality obligation. The letter was prompted by a legal fight over a subpoena for Fusion GPS's bank records. Jeez Louise. And this goes on for like 3 more pages, but that's the gist. So the DNC paid for the research that led to the Russia dossier that supposedly ties Trump to the Russians, which the Democrats were all outraged about. Manufacturing their own outrage.
And it was, the dossier itself was found to be at least largely full of shit.
Real quick, thank you, Surfing Moose. Ad for a movie in which Rocky is searching for Bullwinkle's lost moose knuckle. Just kidding, do whatever you want. You know, I could do an ad with Bullwinkle because I can talk like Bullwinkle. Hey, Rocky.
But can you do Rocky?
I can't do that high pitch of voice. There's almost no way without me like breaking my my vocal cords. Okay, so Surfing Moose, you're leaving it up to me, but I will keep the Bullwinkle notion in mind in case that something comes, in case my imagination goes somewhere. Actually, I'll give it to a guest choice, Ferg. Is there a product or something? What?
You should, whatever the product ends up being, you should still do it as Bullwinkle.
Oh God, okay. Real quick, Sanguine, thank you. A dark fantasy movie about the fall of the Tuatha De Danann. Sanguine, you're just going to make me research every ancient historical figure or event, whatever, trying to make a movie out of it, but okay. Ferg.
Yes.
Is there a product I should do an ad on?
An ad in Bullwinkle's voice?
It can be something simple. You know, you could just name a product. That'd be great instead of some convoluted movie plot, but it's up to you.
A bottle cap.
I should just do a regular product. Okay. This might be generic depending on how many streams you've had. Maybe do an ad on a giant black dildo.
Okay. Giant black dildo. All right. I don't think anybody's ever asked for that specifically, so.
Oh, good.
I will try to come up with something involving a giant black dildo. Oh boy. Well, all right. So otherwise, so is this was this the DNC? No, was this Mueller's investigation that was doing this, or I'm trying to figure out, or is this Washington Post? Well, I'm trying to figure out who dug this up. Was it the was it the Washington Post that did this on investigation, or was this part of Mueller's deal? Or
from what I've seen, they haven't answered because I don't know if Mueller had looked into it, but I know when the Fusion folks were in front of Congress, they refused to say who paid them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think the story I saw didn't say exactly who was breaking that, whether it came from a source. It was anonymous sources is what they said. So I'm guessing the Washington Post.
Thank you, Adocrat. An evil ranting monkey trying to rule the world with midget warriors.
Oh yeah,
he'd do that.
Yeah, well,
He'd do that for sure.
Yeah, that's not even a stretch of the imagination. And thank you, Point Curation. Ad for the Postal Service. Oh, the band? Or do you mean the actual Postal Service? I assume you mean the actual Postal Service, but I could do one for the band, I suppose. Okay, getting my list down. I think Ferg was about to say something. Sorry, Ferg.
Oh, no problem. I did see somewhere that it was a New York Times journalist. I believe it's on the Daily Wire's article, though, and they actually have her tweet. So she's the one that broke the story, and then the Washington Post, from what I understand.
Interesting. I wonder if this will have to become part of Mueller's playbook now, won't it?
You would think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, something to watch on, because it's all as Watergate taught us, follow the money, and interesting to see what comes out of this.
But okay, I hate to play devil's advocate.
Okay.
This is not unusual. There's a term in politics called oppo. It's opposition research.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's what they do. So I mean, the fact that this report was so full of shit, so obviously full of shit, where I mean dates don't even line up. Maybe you can draw something there, but otherwise, I mean, it's just opposition research.
Thank you, Chaos Eve. Smash that like button like a virgin on prom night. That's true. Monkey Dick, yes. Jim Jones, movies, as mentioned, click that like button. And if you like our stuff, or you don't, please share it to torture someone else or to entertain, whichever you like. The only thing I'm curious about aside is how often do the DNC point to this dossier as proof of something without ever mentioning that they paid to have it essentially created? And I'm wondering how much sort of like hypocrisy in keeping quiet about who did what occurred. And I mean, I'm sure they did at some point, but I'm just curious if there's a timeline of how many people who knew of who was paying for it used it as a cudgel politically.
That is an excellent question. That would be something worth actually looking at.
Yeah, that's what I'm just for the sake of fun. So anyway, the other story that came out relatively late in the day today, Jeff Flake, who is a Republican senator from Arizona. I'll just read the headline from our favorite editor, such as it is, from CNN, Chris Cillizza.
Oh. And
see if you can spot the problematic portion of this headline. All right?
Good word.
Jeff Flake just flew a kamikaze mission against Donald Trump.
What?
Donald Trump.
No, kamikaze. That's cultural appropriation. Chris Cillizza needs to go to thought jail.
That's true.
Bam.
Bam. Emerald. Arizona Republican Senator Jeff Flake announced Tuesday that he won't run for a second term in the Senate, but he made the decision about his political career months ago when he decided to go public, in book form no less. Again, this is Chris Cillizza, who loves to write quote-unquote journalism as blog posts, with his indictment of both President Donald Trump and a GOP that had accepted such an interloper into its ranks. Quote, if by 2017 the conservative bargain was to go along for the very bumpy ride because with congressional hegemony and the White House we had the numbers to achieve some long-held policy goals, even as we put at risk our institutions and our values, then it was a very real question whether any such policy victories wouldn't be Pyrrhic ones. Flake wrote in The Conscience of a Conservative, a rejection of destructive politics and a return to principle. That's his book, I presume. If this was our Faustian bargain, then it was not worth it. Flake's book and the candor about Trump and his party he exhibited in it drew him widespread national attention and, in some circles, considerable praise. Trump wasn't among those laurel throwers. Imagine that. Neither were potential 2018 Republican primary voters. Quote, Phoenix crowd last night was amazing. A packed house, Trump tweeted in August. I love the great state of Arizona. Not a fan of Jeff Flake, weak on crime and border.
Yeah.
Trump went further. He met with several potential Republican primary challengers to Flake, an absolutely unheard of act for an incumbent president against a member of his own party. Steve Bannon, Trump's former chief strategist, is aiding the candidacy of former state Senator Kelly Ward, who ran an unsuccessful primary against Republican Senator John McCain in 2016. Quote, today Steve Bannon added another scalp to his collection as another establishment domino falls, one Bannon ally told CNN. It quickly became clear that in a fight between Trump, Bannon, and Flake, the senator was going to lose, and lose badly. Polling suggested that Ward started the primary with a double-digit lead over Flake. The conversations within GOP circles over the past few months was not whether Flake could win re-election. It was whether he would retire, as he did on Tuesday, or be beaten by Ward in a primary. This was not a surprise to Flake. From the moment he conceived of writing the book he wrote, he knew this was not only a possibility, but maybe the only possibility for how his political career would end. He said as much in his speech announcing his retirement on the Senate floor. All right, so here's we get into the speech. There are times when we must risk our careers in favor of our principles, he said in the opening moments of his address. Now is such a time. Flake's fatalism screams through those lines. He simply wasn't willing to be a Republican senator in the Republican Party of Donald Trump. He determined that holding the... Why do I care about this? I mean, aside from showing that the Republican Party's fractured, which we already knew. Oh, sorry, real quick. Thank you, Sweeper Steven. Just stopping in to show some love, and my ad is a doxing website that brings the end of the world.
Nice.
Nice.
You got it, Sweeper. Sorry.
Hi, Sweeper Steven.
Hi, Sweeper.
Hope you're having a good day. Oh, hey, Skep Talk. I see Skep Talk in the chat, too.
Everybody's talking about Flake because, one, he's going out like a bitch. Be honest, you're leaving because you're gonna fucking lose. Don't bitch out like that. I mean, if you want to attack Donald Trump, do it, but don't sit here and claim that you're leaving because Donald Trump is representative of the party. You're doing it because you're fucking losing, you lying bitch. Mm-hmm. But two, he's in his book, he's blaming Donald Trump for what we all see happening. Remember, do you guys remember, we've talked about this many times, there were 6 goddamn years of them telling us about the repeal and replace. We all remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Donald Trump had nothing to do with it. Donald Trump just came in and said, if you send me something like that, I will fucking sign it. And they couldn't do it. That is not because of Donald Trump. What Donald Trump did for the Republicans is the same thing that Bill Clinton did for the Democrats and what George Bush did for Republicans. When you have a party in complete power and you can't get shit passed, you have to start looking at where the real problem is. You have a president here who's saying, send me legislation and I will fucking sign it. And they can't fucking do it. And they have no one left to blame. So they're going to blame the guy who's saying, yeah, I will sign it if you can get it for me. And that's what Flake's doing here. He's using that as an excuse for bitching out about losing. Because this is what Republicans have become. They get into power and they don't do anything. Mm-hmm. Nothing that they were sent there to do. Sorry.
Whoa. Or said they would do, or etc.
Yeah.
I wonder who and how quickly Jeff Flake will be joining some lobbying firm or some industry insider consulting job or something after he gets out of this that is not a fan of Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be the sort of a sideways job interview for some big anti-Trump or not Trump favorite in the industry after this.
I'm going to call it. He's going to become a contributor to CNN.
Oh,
that would be delicious.
Oh, okay. We have a prediction that next time we see Jeff Flake in any sort of employment role, what do you think, an actual like employee or just sort of like a political advisor consultant?
He'll show up as an advisor on stories for a while, and if he does well, then yeah, they'll give him his own show.
Okay. Now we'll see. All right. So aside from those two stories, there wasn't a whole lot in the wide world of news today that at least was jumping out of the headlines. I did come across a couple of stories that caught my eye, and they might end up in MSS News as well, but I beat you to it if so. And these do count as kind of like potpourri stories, but HIV positive school aide accused of sexual assault faces 206 charges.
Damn.
Prosecutors added more charges and accusations to an already lengthy indictment of an HIV positive former Maryland school aide and track coach who is accused of sexually assaulting underage students and recording the abuse on video.
Oh, wow.
Carlos D'Angelo Bell, 30, of Waldorf, was hit Friday with a 206-count indictment that covers accusations about 28 identified alleged victims and 14 unidentified alleged victims, according to the state's attorney for Charles County, Maryland. The indictment covers conduct that spanned from May 2015 to June 2017, and the alleged victims range from 11 to 17 years old.
If they have his own video of him doing this, just put a fucking bullet in him.
The charges include sex offenses, filming child pornography, sex abuse of a minor, and assault, among others, according to the indictment. The state is not aware of any alleged victim testing positive for HIV.
Thank goodness.
Well,
Hope
not
it
aware.
fucking stays that way.
Yeah, not aware of it so far.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But it just, can you fucking imagine? Like, not only do you have to deal with the trauma of having been assaulted, but now you're also HIV positive thanks to this sick motherfucker.
Yeah.
And these are young kids, right?
Yeah.
11 to 17, yeah.
So it would be able to transfer through that blood just because nothing's developed, and it's actually more likely with these children, as horrible as that is.
Let's see. I'm just curious how he got away with it for 2 years before somebody like fired his ass. Let's see. He was removed from his jobs as an instructional assistant at Benjamin Stoddard Middle School and as a track coach at La Plata High School late in 2016 when the investigation began. He began working for the school system in 2014. Something tells me he didn't just start in May 2015. If he was,
I know.
He started working there in 20. Yeah.
This makes me fucking sick.
Hey, okay. Well, anyway, that's basically the story.
Is he in California?
No, Maryland.
Oh, well, good.
And secondly, or lastly, I suppose, before we get to MSS News, a weird one, sounds like something out of the Weekly World News, but might be real. The woman who sweats blood from her palms and her face.
What?
Sweating blood from her face and the palms of her hands, a 21-year-old woman was admitted to an Italian hospital. Doctors Roberto Magli and Marzia Caproni, both dermatologists at the University of Florence, reported the case Monday in the Canadian Medical Association Journal. The patient, whose identity remains anonymous as is customary in such cases, has no signs of scratches or wounds. Her spontaneous bleeding episodes had no obvious trigger, and each instance lasted anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes and then ended on its own. Sometimes the bleeding occurred while the young woman was sleeping, at other times while she was exercising or physically active. The patient had endured the condition for 3 years. Embarrassed by the ghoulishness of her symptoms, the young woman had socially isolated herself and experienced symptoms of major depression as well as panic disorder. Analysis of her skin where the bleeding had occurred showed nothing unusual. Tests of her blood revealed no coagulation issues or other problems. Obviously, she's blessed by God.
Must be.
Yeah, this is dermostigmata or something. Let's see. Magli did not respond to requests for comment. According to the journal, Magli and Caproni diagnosed hematohidrosis. I don't know. A rare disease marked by spontaneous discharge of blood sweat through intact skin. The doctors first treated her depression and panic symptoms with an antidepressant, paroxetine, and an anti-anxiety medication, clonazepam. Next, I don't care about her medication. I can give a shit less.
No.
Let's see. Let's see. The earliest mentions of sweating blood went back to Aristotle's writing in the 3rd century BC. In 2 instances, the Greek scientist and philosopher described sweat that either looked like or really was blood. Yeah. So anyway, oh, and then they have pictures of blood coming out of her belly button.
Out of her wherever. I'm sorry. That's...
Yeah, no. Okay. And then, of course, at the very bottom, it talks about the Christian overtones of the stigmata and, bleeding from, etc. Anyway, odd
That'd
story.
Be one hell of a Halloween trick.
It's like
Yes.
kids come to your door and you're like bleeding blood, like, hey, what's up, guys?
God, how does that even work medically? Like when your blood's taking nutrients to the tissues, it just leaks in the apocrine glands or whatever. I don't know. That's weird.
No
I'm
idea.
sure Google could tell you.
It doesn't sound like the doctors have a whole lot of good idea either, because she didn't test for anything weird, at least not outwardly. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to MSS News if we don't have anything else. Chat, if you have any news stories you'd like us to take a look at, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. I can't promise we'll get to everything, but we'll definitely take a look. And the first one at the top of the list is a Root article from Jack Cochran. I will set it aside in case we need a deep topic later. Another one. And another one. But Jack Cochran's just inundating us with Root articles and everyday feminism articles. We got plenty to select from there. Let's see. Oh, here's one from Peter Stewart. Iditarod sled dog race is engulfed in dog doping scandal.
Oh, God.
What the hell?
Dog
Dogs are
doping?
juicing.
Who the fuck dopes a dog?
Cycling, baseball, track, horse racing. Now dog sledding has become the latest professional sport to be engulfed in a doping scandal, this one involving the huskies that dash across the frozen landscape in Alaska's grueling 1,600-kilometer Iditarod. The governing board of the world's most famous sled dog race disclosed Monday that 4 dogs belonging to 4-time Iditarod champion Dallas Seavey tested positive for a banned substance, the opioid painkiller tramadol, after his second-place finish last March. It was the first time since the race instituted drug testing in 1994 that a test came back positive. Seavey strongly denies giving any banned substances to his dogs, suggesting instead that he may have been the victim of sabotage by another musher or an animal rights activist. He accused the Iditarod of lax security at dog food drop-off points and other spots. Race officials said he will not be punished because they were unable to prove he acted intentionally. That means he will keep his titles and his $59,000 in winnings this year. But the finding, yep.
His excuse is really that somebody dosed his dog's food.
Somebody hacked my phone, dude.
It makes sense because you wouldn't give Tramadol to dope a dog for winning a race.
Well, then why would it be banned?
Well, because drugging your dogs is bad, okay?
Let's see if I can find something on here that tells us about it. Well, I mean, unless the painkiller was meant to like reduce the strain of running or something, you know, so they don't feel the exertion as much or something, I guess. But
I don't know. I'm trying to imagine running a 5K after taking some oxycodone.
Yeah. They don't go on to say
you could do it if
about
somebody was beating you with a whip.
You know, all right. Well,
fair enough. Fair
all
enough.
right, moving on. Let's see. This I heard this on the radio today, but yeah, this also comes from Peter's story. This is a funny little story. Judge serves eviction notice on pregnant mom's unborn baby.
What?
What?
A Utah mom in her final days of pregnancy gave her baby an eviction notice and made it official with a judge's signature. Incredibly, the baby obeyed. Kaylee Bays was pregnant with her 3rd child, a girl, and thought she was going into labor last week, but it stopped. She went back to work to her job as a judicial assistant at the 4th District Court in Provo and jokingly asked Judge Lynn Davis to serve an eviction notice on her baby. He did, and it worked. Less than 12 hours later, baby Gretzel
What the fuck?
Oh, this was funny until I found out that you're an idiot and named your baby Pretzel.
Gretzel was born, the Daily Herald reported. Bays and Davis told her it was the first baby eviction notice in his 31 years as a judge. Imagine that.
Well, I should hope.
Yeah.
Well, like that would have been funny if you didn't fucking name your kid that. Like what? That ruins the story.
The notice was addressed to Gretzel at Mommy Belly Lane in Womb, Utah.
Nice.
All right, that's cute.
Okay,
It's
cute,
cute.
but
The name
Toast
is stupid.
adorbs.
Don't name your kid Gretzel.
Yeah, right. Like I love how we're like, yeah, the eviction notice story is funny, but like, really, fucking Gretzel? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Is that like a combination of Hansel and Gretel, so they don't like they couldn't
Gretzel.
decide if it was a boy or girl?
Gretzel.
well,
Like,
maybe they're
fuck
going to let the
you.
baby decide.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, because babies have wisdom.
Yes.
The wisdom of babies. Okay,
terrible.
this one comes from senior staff reporter Colleen Bernier. Doctors urge women to stop using Vicks VapoRub on their vaginas, saying
What the
read
fuck?
this.
Why would you put that there? Sorry.
saying it doesn't cure thrush.
Oh my god.
I read
on
ahead on
earth?
that one. Hang on. I read ahead. This is women, you need to take better care of your hoo-has.
Why would you put that on your snatch? Oh my god, that
they'll
just sounds
tell
like it would burn.
Hold on,
Like
hold
my
on.
snatch is burning just thinking about it.
Everyone is familiar with Vicks VapoRub. It's a smell linked to early mornings of being ill and having it rubbed on your chest and throat while you wheezed, fretted, and coughed up what felt like half a lung. You only need to get the slightest whiff of its well-known eucalyptus and camphor scent to be transported back to being a snotty, ill child. Now, in 2017, the medicine cabinet staple is getting the reinvention no one asked for. Simply put, women are applying it to their vaginas.
Oh my god, why?
Given 2017 will probably go down as the year of the bizarre/medically inadvisable vaginal trend, this news about Vicks is perhaps inevitable, but that doesn't make it any less worrying. Women are apparently turning to the decongestant to soothe itches, boost their sex lives, and keep everything smelling minty fresh. Several health advice forums show women are using it as some sort of cure-all for all vaginal ills. One woman wrote, quote, "My vagina itches, just the outside on the labia. They become swollen as well. When I scratch, they bleed. Then stop scratching. I use Vicks to soothe the itch and bring down the swelling. It really helps me. Am I harming myself by using Vicks?"
Yes,
Yes.
you fucking moron. What the fuck? Oh my
To
god. Sorry.
To which another Vicks fan says, quote, "Vicks was my savior. It won't hurt you a bit. It's the only thing that ever worked for me, like at all." Apparently, the tingling sensation it offers is believed to enhance their sex lives too. Worryingly, these women are far from being alone. As with many other vagina trends before, doctors are despairing. Dr. Vanessa McKay, a gynecologist and spokeswoman for the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, said, quote, "Using Vicks VapoRub on the vagina would not only be uncomfortable, but also has the potential to cause damage and disrupt the natural flora of the vagina." So there you go.
I'm sorry.
quick.
As somebody who owns a hoo-ha, I am incredibly disturbed by that. That just, ouch.
Thank you, Miss Slim One. Son of a bitch, there's a fire nearby again. I just had my car washed. Here's the money I would have spent on another car wash. No ad necessary unless you really want to.
Stay safe.
Jeez, yeah. Yeah.
You should do an ad for a car wash.
I should do an ad for like
Or a fire.
or no fires, like an anti-fire ad. Let me think about that one. Thank you, Miss Slim, so much. Also, thank you, Cryptic. Okay, do an ad for the vag. Oh,
Oh my
Jesus.
god.
All
Ugh.
right.
I didn't mean to laugh in the middle of your story, but Uzi Q put into chat, "Wash your twat, bitches."
But like, can you imagine? Okay, if like your dumbass girlfriend did that or something, and then all of a sudden like you stick it in her, and now like your dick is on fire because she was like Vicks VapoRub. Yo, like what the fuck is wrong with you, people?
The story actually links to the forum where they're discussing this, and you can go read it. And they're all very, they take great care to keep it out of the hole. I don't know how, but that's what they say.
Yeah, but like,
I just want to remind people, don't take medical advice from random strangers on a forum?
They're probably trolling you.
I actually have Vicks right here, and you know what it says in bold lettering right on the bottle?
Put in your
Don't
snatch.
put it on your snatch.
For external use only.
Well, they're only using it externally. Didn't you hear them? Don't put it in the.
It's on the labia.
Yeah, the labia is external. You know, it protrudes.
Well, I mean, if you're gross,
Yeah.
sure.
All right. Well,
Maybe
And it's
you
not
use
an
the vapor rub.
antifungal.
oh god.
You use the vapor rub to cover the buttery smell.
Oh.
so that we can trick all the big towels into unmig-towing.
Yes.
That's
All
what we're,
right.
that's what
That's
we're
how they
really
get
doing.
you guys.
I remember
That's
how they
that
get you.
stream.
Let's see. Several people have sent us this one, so credit to Drip and Sylvanus. Professor claims math, algebra, and geometry promote white privilege.
Fact check
Uh-huh.
true.
A University of Illinois math professor believes, let me underscore the word believes that algebra and geometry perpetuate white privilege because Greek terms give Caucasians unearned credit for the subject.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I wonder what Weibo thinks about this being a Greek aficionado in more ways than one.
I was wondering where they were going to go with that. I was like, how
But
did
that
you
is-
get that?
But that isn't the professor's only complaint. She also believes that evaluations for math proficiency perpetuates discrimination against minority students if they do worse than their white counterparts.
How
What?
can you think that unless you think black people are stupid?
Well,
Um,
exactly.
But
Exactly.
black
Thank you
people are
for.
stupid.
Rochelle Gutierrez argues in a newly published math education book, and I'd like to put that in quotation marks if the article doesn't, math education book for teachers, that they must be aware of the identity politics surrounding the subject of mathematics. I wish this was a video because this would go straight into my Curriculum of Fear series.
This goes back to that article we read a month or two ago. Intersectional fucking math is a real thing now. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
Exactly. Quote, on many levels, mathematics itself operates as whiteness, she argues with complete sincerity, according to Campus Reform. Quote, who gets credit for doing and developing mathematics, who is capable in mathematics, and who is seen as part of the mathematical community is generally viewed as white. Generally.
By who?
By who? Yeah, by whom?
Gutierrez argues that subjects like algebra and geometry, which relate to arithmetic, also perpetuate racism and white privilege. She worries that, quote, curricula emphasizing terms like Pythagorean theorem and pi perpetuate a perception that mathematics was largely developed by Greeks and other Europeans.
Niggas can't triangle.
So, all right, so always like the Pythagorean theorem. Who created that
Spunky.
theorem?
Spunky.
Dr. Dre.
Oh,
Spunky, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please make me a t-shirt that says N-words can't triangle? I'll never wear it anywhere. I just want one.
Oh.
Pythagoras came up with the
yeah.
Pythagorean.
And was Pythagoras Greek by any chance?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, Irate Bear's in the chat. Hey, Irate Bear.
Hi, Daddy.
Can
My
you,
friend.
do you know how triangles work, Irate Bear? Because this lady in Illinois apparently thinks that you have a lesser understanding, and maybe you do. I don't know. I mean, it is a teacher saying this.
How is it that Asians can do it?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. Let's see if she mentions that. Gutierrez claims that the importance of math skills in the real world also places what she calls an, quote, unearned privilege, unquote, for those who are good at it. Like Asians? Because most math teachers in the United States are white people stand to benefit from their grasp of the subject disproportionate to members of other races. Yeah, you're right. If a teacher is a particular skin color, then only students of that same skin color can understand what they're saying.
Yes,
You fucking
exactly.
idiot. God damn it. I hate this.
Well, it's what Ferg said. You have to assume black people are fucking stupid.
Timothy Seelbeck, thank you. Does this female know we use Arabic numbers? I don't know. I have
You
no
missed
idea.
it. You missed
Oh,
one a little
and
back.
and
too.
the zeros from the Indians.
Kingsley Abraqua. Abraqua. Duh, math is racist because us dockies can't do no maths. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Kingsley. That was great.
Guys, I gotta say, I think I can get behind this, though. I mean, just imagine all new math books specifically for the Black community. We could have things like Tariq Nasheed's 1 + 1 = 3.
Oh.
It would be brilliant.
But isn't that like amazing though when you think about it? Like the idea that Black people can't math because of Greek letters, like how dumb do you have to think that Black people are on a base level to actually hear that and go, you know what, you're right. The Greek letters would bother the darkies. That's true. They are just that awful as people.
Well, we all know when you say pie to a Black person, they just start thinking about sweet potato.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ. I just don't get it. It's like they don't see Black people as human beings.
They don't.
Hold on. Almost done. Quote, are we really that smart just because we do mathematics? She asks, raising the question as to why math professors get more grants than social studies or English professors. Because mathematics is a hard science.
Yes.
And it produces more into the world than social studies or English, I'm afraid, my dear. Quote, if one is not viewed as mathematical, there will always be a sense of inferiority that can be summoned, she says, claiming that minorities, quote, have experienced microaggressions from participating in math classrooms where people are judged by whether they can reason abstractly. So minorities cannot reason abstractly? What the fuck is wrong with you?
You know what's crazy about that? Do you remember the Rage After Storm thing? One of the articles that she linked to said that Black people can't do abstract concepts. You agree with a Stormfront article, you dumbass motherfucker.
Oh my God.
Can you believe that? That's fucked up.
Math isn't abstract.
Well, some of the concepts are.
Wait, okay, this is the end of the article, but also apparently her summation. She concludes her argument with the claim that all knowledge is relational, or is, in other words, relative. Quote, things cannot be known objectively, they must be known subjectively.
No. Oh my God.
Are you an actually licensed teacher? Yeah, she's a math professor. University of Illinois. Okay, University of Illinois, if by any chance someone there is listening, really reconsider whether this person should be employed at your school. Not because of anything that she is, but for everything that she says. Okay, thank you, Sanguine. Can academics just come out and say what they mean in plain words? Non-Asian minorities aren't able to know things or even think, really. Dystopia, anti-sci-fi, where hard scientists are decolonized. What are you talking about? I don't even know what that means. I'm going to make it up, just like the real people do. Okay, Sanguine?
I'm sorry. This just upsets me because it's like some of the most racist shit you'll ever hear.
I mean, if I heard that same, if somebody came to me and said, hey, I'm going to read you a passage out of an academic journal from 1936 Germany, I don't know that I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that and actual Nazi ideology. Thank you, Cryptic. We beat our kids for low math score, get to beating other kinfolk. Oh, Jesus.
I just don't, I mean, sorry, it just, it's so fucking racist and it pisses me off because it's kind of like, this is kind of different, but that English class I was telling you guys about where we had to go over how to speak proper English, but she had to be really weird about it because you can't insult Ebonics.
Weibo's in the chat. My friend is listening and he said y'all needed me. Well, Weibo, we're reading an article regarding a math teacher spouting off that because math uses Greek terms that somehow makes it only accessible to white people. So we don't really need your expertise per se, but it just you immediately came to my mind because Greek came up. So
did you guys see that Sargon versus Thomas debate?
Yeah.
It's like what Sargon and Bering were trying to point out to Thomas. Black people don't need your constant fucking coddling like they're just wee little babies who need the big, powerful, smart white people to come sweeping down to their fucking rescue.
Right, but doesn't it sound like that? Where they're like, black people can't even abstract concepts, so...
Yeah.
I love it, because, yeah, exactly. I hear all this, like, oh, you know, we have to downplay the notion of the white savior, et cetera, and yet all of this rhetoric is trying to cubbyhole that very same notion, that somehow white people are just naturally more well-inclined to things than the minorities, and the minorities need to be given a helping hand because they can't compete against the superiority of white people. Do you listen to what is coming out of your mouths?
Right? I mean, wouldn't you expect black people don't get the abstract concepts and fall behind because it's difficult to come out of a KKK member's mouth? Isn't that like that's the kind of rhetoric you would expect? And it's funny because like you fucking social justice warriors agree with like probably Richard Spencer on the dumbness of black people. Way to go. Good for you.
Okay.
You racist ass piece of shit.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap up MSS News with something funny, just to sort of do a palate cleanser before we move on to YouTube stuff.
We need that, clearly.
Okay, this one hopefully will be good. This comes from Boatman99. Is this a Florida man? No, this is an Oklahoma man. Okay. Police discover speeding driver nearly naked and covered in Vaseline.
He was at a VapoRub.
An Oklahoma man is greasing the wheels of justice with lots of Vaseline. Ha 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 ha, Huffington Post. When John Wayne Kellerman was pulled over on October 15th, he could have easily given officers the slip. That's because the 54-year-old was mostly covered in Vaseline on his hands and his upper body and lower body parts, according to the Smoking Gun. Deputy Daryl Beebe of the Garfield County Sheriff's Department made the discovery after he pulled over Kellerman for doing 57 in a 45. When Beebe walked up to the car, he said Kellerman was nearly naked except for a bikini thong. He also noticed a pornographic magazine was on the passenger seat, according to the Enid News and Eagle newspaper. A nearly empty jar of Vaseline was located next to the man in the vehicle. A sergeant arrived at the scene of the traffic stop to do a vehicle inventory, according to the Eagle. The officer noted that the driver's side of the car was extremely greasy. According to a police report obtained by the Smoking Gun, Kellerman seemed extremely nervous and his hands were shaking. He added Beebe, I'm sure they were shaking, or they happened to be going up and down near his crotch area by any chance. He handed Beebe an ID card, must have been pleasant, and offered the officer a rag to wipe off the Vaseline. Let's see. Beebe checked Kellerman's license and discovered he was driving on a revoked license. In fact, the license hadn't been valid since 1985.
Wow.
All right. Well, there's our story. Thank you. The next 6 minutes. So my Mexican half makes me bad at math. I see. I guess, according to this Illinois teacher, whose last name is Gutierrez, by the way. So yes, I guess.
Think of how well it clean floors, and
I'm amazed that she was able to become a math professor, given how difficult it is for anyone who's not white to understand math.
I don't okay, there might be some minority problems there in math, but what about the male-female divide? What's the problem there?
Oh, they didn't address that one. It's all about skin color. Genders for Tuesday night or Wednesday night. Sorry. All right. Well, with all that out of the way, thank you everyone who sent stories. Sorry we didn't get to everything, but we do have a guest, and I want to give some time to talking about YouTube. So let me go first and get my stuff out of the way, because I do have one ad to read. I got permission from Sarah Pariseau to read the ad I created for her because she has to work. Her hours changed, so she can't be here to listen live. So Sarah had requested Grand Monkey as a drill sergeant for the Lords of the Night. And so this is my attempt at doing something like that. And let me get it shaped up. Okay. From the producers of Baby Geniuses and Funny or Die, creators of The Landlord, comes the latest in talking baby hilarity. See what happens when 3 new recruits fresh off the bus to boot camp, Ranting Monkey, Some Dumb American, and Scribelight, have to salute and stand at attention to the itty-bitty cutest widow baby drill sergeant of them all, Grand Monkey. Witness the teeth-rotting sweetness as 3 grown adults act as though a harmless toddler giggling and being adorable is a real threat to both their careers and their self-esteem. And see how the comedic interpretation of an angelic little girl saying, "My foot is dirty," leads the 3 recruits to fall over themselves trying to shine her tiny, tiny little combat boots. It's combat cuteness and high-ranking hilarity in Drill, Baby, Drill. Directed by Sarah Pierso.
That was cute. I liked it.
All right,
Before you go on with the rest of yours, I want to tell you a Grand Monkey story.
Oh boy, Grand Monkey story.
Today she was in a bad mood. I think she's getting sick or something because she was unusually grouchy.
Okay.
And
Poor
I've
baby.
told you guys she's in her dress mood, and one of her favorite dresses is dirty, and she saw it in the hamper and just threw a fit because I wouldn't let her wear it. So I just left her in her room throwing her little fit, and I went back out. I was making chili, and she's in there for about 2 minutes, and then she comes out quietly and sits down with her blanket and watches TV for a minute. And then she stands up and she slowly walks into the kitchen and just gives me the biggest hug I've ever got from her.
Aww.
Like,
Aww.
and then she asked if she could help, and she helped me make chili. So anyway, sorry.
The poor thing.
Oh.
Okay?
Like I said, I think she's getting sick. She was a little bit snotty today, so we'll see. It's that time of year here. So
All right. Well, it
So sad.
helps build up her immune system for the future. Aside from that, I'm still working. I finished the script for my next video. So the original video is 18 minutes long. I got about 8 minutes in before the subject of the video said something so ridiculously stupid, given his claimed position in life, that I just said, nope, I don't need to listen to anything else. This is a waste of my time any further. But I will leave everything else commented on. So I will be recording the audio tomorrow if things line up correctly, and hopefully we'll have it done and posted tomorrow. But that's what I've been working on. SDA, what are you doing?
I don't have any plans for a video right this second. I have a lot going on with school. I know that I'm going to be streaming with Satsu tomorrow, probably during the day. Obviously, I'm doing the stream with Clever Jester on his Twitch channel, which is linked in the description. Thank you, Scribe, for that. Tonight, I will try to get a video out this week. Just school. There are not enough hours in the day, that's for sure, right now. But I'm going to try to get out a video this week. And I've got a Patreon stream on Friday at 7:30.
Okay. Monkey, what are you doing?
I made a video today.
You did?
I did. I made a video on Steve Shives.
Yeah, you did.
I liked your video.
Most of what Steve says I don't bother with because he's an idiot, but this highlights so much the problem with feminists and male feminists. In his video, he lays out this list of things that men all do wrong. All of us. He tells us we all do it.
Yeah.
And it's shit I have never fucking done. One of the things that, prioritizing men over women. You guys, do I seem like the kind of guy who has ever fucking done that?
No.
Ever in my life?
Nope.
No, not exactly.
Yeah. But what he's telling us there is that that's what he does. And he just assumes everyone else is like that. And
That's because he's a fucking
that is
moron.
why.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right. Exactly. It is a dumb, and it's a very egotistical way to think of the world. That if I feel like this, everybody else must.
It's called projection. He's very good at it.
Yes,
Does Steve
it is.
Shives work at a movie theater? Because he projects like a motherfucker.
But
I like that.
then he goes into something weird with it because he starts out very tame. The first story he tells us is of a woman who is an artist, and her work sometimes shows up on a website, and there's another artist there who's problematic. He says mean things online. We don't get to hear what exactly is said. We just get the accusations. And so his friend reached out to the owner of the site, and when the owner of the site responded, it was, well, how was I supposed to know? Now, in my way of thinking, if she had said, you know what, you have this guy here, he does some, he said some really horrible things, I just wanted to let you know, nobody would answer, how was I supposed to know? That sounds like a reaction to, why are you associating with this guy? The accusatory feminist bullshit we've seen over and over and over. The second example was a woman who emailed a business colleague, but they work together, but they work, it's like contracted work is the way he makes it sound. And she got no response. But then somebody who works directly with her, a male, sent another email, and it was responded to like immediately. So obviously the guy who got the emails was, you know, he ignores women. And then from there,
that's it.
he takes these two examples and somehow from there jumps to Harvey Weinstein.
All right.
Those things don't go together. They really don't. What Harvey did, if you believe the worst of the accusations against him, he's a fucking rapist. He's not somebody who ignores emails from women. He's a fucking rapist if you go by the worst. And the best accusations, he's a fucking creepy dude who pushes himself on women. Those don't go together. And when you look at those, especially with Steve saying, you know, this is what all guys do. Does Steve think all guys are like Harvey Weinstein?
Well, if they are, then
because working with you guys, I've really enjoyed it. But you know, so now that I know that, I think I'm gonna have to. Stop doing it.
If all other guys are Harvey Weinstein, then Steve Shives is an absolute hero.
Oh God. But yeah, so I just broke down that video. I had a little fun with it because it was.
I thought your points in that video were really good.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I just, especially the parts when you were, God, I forgot what I was going to say. But there were two things I was going to say. But the other one was, yeah, when you were saying that the escalation from didn't answer an email to Harvey Weinstein. It was like, well. Yes. Alrighty then, it's one or the other, I guess.
Yeah, and at the very least, he's saying that he would excuse that behavior because that's one of the things he talks about, men excusing the behavior of other men. Now, there are times that I have excused the behavior of other men, and it's because I didn't think they did anything wrong, not just because they were men. If somebody's being a creep, I will happily call them out, and that's just who I am. I would do it right to their face, right then and there. If Steve wouldn't, that's on Steve and not me.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? Like, he seems to think that kind of like how women work like a hive mind, men do too. And if he would be a fucking pussy about something, then clearly everybody would.
And he clearly would be because he's Steve Shives.
Right. Well, that's not
the other thing. I'm still trying to iron out the exact details, but a bit of Brit should be joining me on my channel for my little Sunday talks I've been doing.
Cool. And I should note that I won't be here Saturday. I'll be off doing a family thing, so you guys will have to carry on without me. New Fate 26, thank you so much. Mass Effect trilogy as if it were directed by Takeshi Miike, starring a different Lord of the Night as Shepard in each film.
Wow.
I've never played Mass Effect. I don't know anything about Mass Effect. I don't even know who that director is. I don't even know how I do 3 trailers for 3 different films for New Fate. You might have just jumped my shark. I will try, I guess. If you have something a little less convoluted, I'd appreciate it, but I'll give it a shot, I guess. Hey, Ferg, you get the last word. What are you working on, and how's your channel going?
Oh, it's going all right. Just starting back up. Just bought a house and going to nursing school, so I'm finally steady enough to put some content out. I just found this weird channel called The Root. Have you guys heard of
it? Are you serious?
Yes.
No. We are well versed in The Root. I've done several videos of theirs, and we've read many an article from them.
What was that other website you do a lot, Scribe?
So there's Splinter, The Root,
Yeah,
and
Splinter.
Fusion, and they're all part of the same blog network, though they have separate channels on YouTube.
I see. So I went down the Splinter rabbit hole and I found The Root, and it's incredible stuff. So I can't wait to make some content on that.
Oh yeah,
That's
no, they are
about it.
amazing. Yeah, The Root is amazing. It really, I really have a hard time deciding sometimes whether they're being serious or they're just a publication, because some of the stuff they do is just so over the top ridiculous. But anyway, it is now technically deep topic time, or I should say maybe it's YouTube drama time. Do we have any YouTube drama to discuss?
Well, we
Well,
really
I guess
should.
we can talk about. Sorry.
One at a time. You both are going to talk about
Yes.
the same. I'll
gonna say
just
the
sit
same
back.
thing.
You guys go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think we're going to
SDA.
talk about the same thing anyway.
Yeah.
Well, before the stream started, for what, like, this kind of way it slipped in my mind because we talked about it before the stream. We were having a little chat about the updates to the Red Pill Black story, because PJ has been quite defensive on Twitter today of himself, and that's been kind of a riot, honestly.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Red Pill Black went on to InfoWars today, and she was with Alex and Paul Joseph Watson. Paul Joseph Watson actually highlighted her like a month or two ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And people are pointing out, what a horrible woman this chick is, and he is very defensive, very defensive, and rightfully so, because InfoWars likes to push, free speech, free expression, and they are promoting a woman who not only started a Kickstarter for a website to dox people, not even just people, children. They wanted to dox children as well. She still has that website up. It's not down. It is still active. They've scrubbed a couple of the pages, but you can still submit people's names to this fucking thing. Yeah, so this is one of those times that Paul Joseph Watson, you need to just go, you know what? I made a mistake. I made a mistake. And mistakes happen. You see a pretty face, you get pulled in because she's saying what you want her to say. That's happened before. But this is a detestable woman. The idea that you would even ever say that you think it's okay to dox minors, you are fucking garbage. You are a horrible person.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you can talk now. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was sorry. I was just agreeing with you, but I think another thing that makes them look bad, because like you said, you just have to say, "Oh, I made a mistake." Like maybe even, I thought this was like a new update to her online persona or whatever, even. Because there's nothing wrong with making a mistake in that case, because if you're just like, oh yeah, shit, I didn't see that. Okay, whoops. Then everybody can be like, yeah, all right, whoops. But when you double down like that, it's just like, all right, well, now it's a little less defensible.
A couple of things I want to address in chat here. Doxing anyone, adult or child, is bullshit. I agree, Joel. I'm not saying that it's better that it's adult, but actually, I would forgive doxing an adult a little bit more than doxing a fucking child. But then the other one, Lucky Seven says, is that site even legal? She has a very detailed, or had at least a very detailed user agreement if you use the site, which says that whatever you put up there is on you, not the site, which, by the way, doesn't work. Just because you write that doesn't mean you're not legally responsible for what happens. But no, in most states, a site that doxes people would not be legal. And somebody said that Arcani said that we should put her name up there. If you watch Jeff Holliday's latest video, he's already done that. My thought on this kind of website would be to just bombard it with nonsense, just utter trash.
Yeah, that'd be one way to
fake
deal
people.
with it.
That's what
Yeah,
would
just give
happen.
yeah, that's what I would do. I'd spend days just having fun making up fake names. Maybe use Steve
Yeah.
Shive's picture in all of them.
And then there's
Sorry, go ahead.
there's something in the document which basically threatens lawsuits against people that make up names to docs.
Yeah, which would not hold up in court. You can't. It's a public website. You can't do that. I was talking with somebody about that who kept bringing that up to me because my idea is to just bombard them with bullshit. You open a public forum like that and you can have whatever rules you want on there, but one, you're breaking the law, and two, you have no legal recourse to that. It's not a signed contract kind of thing. And the courts have ruled on this several times with terms of use things. Just because it's written there doesn't mean it means a fucking thing.
Well, that's a plus. What about the thousands of dollars in court cases and that?
Oh, yeah.
Would be a bummer, but.
Thank you, Newfate26. Watch Audition or the DOA trilogy for a taste of what Mike is like. He's one of my favorite directors. If it turns out to be too much, then I guess an ad for Punisher Kills the MCU. Well, now that one I can do easy because I actually own the original comic book of Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe. I will make an attempt at the Mass Effect thing. I'm not going to not do it, but I'm just telling you, it might not be very informative, or at least not very Easter eggy, because I do not know dick about Mass Effect except what I'm going to be able to look up on like Wikipedia or something. So I will give it a shot. Thank you for the donation. All right. Do we have any other YouTube drama to discuss? Or
real quick, Numbskull pointed this out, and that should be, if you go to Social Autopsy and you fill out stuff there, they do record your IP and your cookie stuff. So if you go there to fuck off, just be careful because that might come back to bite you. So personally, I would love to end up on that site because I would sue the fuck out of that bitch.
Mm-hmm. All righty.
There is some mini drama.
What was that?
There is some mini drama to talk about if you want to hear about that.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sinatra and Woolly Bumblebee. You guys hear about that?
Oh,
No
what's
idea.
going on with that?
Well, basically they made a giant collab video asking why the SJWs hate us so much, like their deep hatred for us. Why do they do that?
Oh, right.
And a couple people would talk with Sinatra, but from what my understanding was, Woolly Bumblebee would not. And then I was just watching the exchanges on Twitter today, and it was the same old SJW nonsense where you're not worth my time or we have nothing to discuss. And somebody said, I'd rather kick a puppy and feel better about myself than having any further conversation with you.
Yeah, what really amused me about Woolly's comments to Sinatra is she actually said, "This isn't worth my time." She did a 2-hour live stream about it. Now you can say you're not worth my time or continuing this isn't worth my time, but the way she stated it is this subject isn't worth my time. You've already given it 2 hours. Now I don't think Sinatra was trying to get her to come on his channel so they could discuss their their differences on the video. And she just didn't want to do it. And instead of just going, I'm not going to talk to you. Yeah, there was a troll exchange going on there. It's kind of funny.
Okay.
That was interesting.
Well, anything else, or shall we move on to some deep topics?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. Well, as our guest has brought it up, and I already had a story pulled up from it. How about the root?
Yeah, we haven't gone to that well in a while.
Let's see. Well,
It's been a few
Jack Cochran sent us quite a few. Let me double check and make sure there's not one that's more funny than this. Let's see. Well, we have kneeling at the anthem. Let's see. What's this one? Oh, okay. This comes from the root. Oh, I can't pass this one up. All right. So this is the headline, and this is how Jack Cochran classified it. tongue-buttering turtle caves with the root.
Oh.
So with that kind of preamble, you can only imagine what the headline is.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for this.
The headline is Life Lessons. Eat a booty, save a life.
Oh my.
While promoting her new book, We're Going to Need More Wine, last week, actress Gabrielle Union chatted with Sway in the Morning, whatever that is, about sexual desire and, more specifically, sexual gratification and reciprocity. The Being Mary Jane star discussed why people are sexually repressed. She also broke down why experiencing one's own pleasure should be a requirement, not something to be ashamed or to run from. Quote, I'm not here to offer any sort of insight as to when you should begin your sexual journey, Union says. But what I'm saying is, whenever that is, whenever you are having consensual sexual relationships, there should be equal pleasure, she continues. Union goes on to discuss not being a vessel for anyone else's pleasure and the importance of reciprocity and symbiotic relationships. In the process of sharing these gems of wisdom, Union also gave listeners some much-needed advice on which we could all chew. It's okay if you like your ass eaten, and it's okay to eat ass.
No, it's not. It is not okay to lick butt. Stop it.
Make no mistake, many men, straight, bisexual, and gay alike, like having their asses eaten. I'm exhausted by the show we put on to make it appear otherwise for fear of what that could mean for our performative masculinity. This is a man writing this article, by the way. Though everyone has an anal cavity, some of us have deduced that only one gender and sexuality should experience that sort of pleasure. Thankfully, I've never been one of those men. Perhaps it's because I'm an openly gay and queer man, but I have always been open to the idea of both giving and receiving oral/anal pleasure. It's a national treasure, the gift that keeps on giving.
What? No, it's not a national treasure.
It's a, well, hey,
I find a national treasure.
I saw Nicolas Cage looking for it the other day. I'm just saying. It's a skill full of tongue tricks that often requires focus, intensity, and the understanding of one's body. Remember, not all heroes wear capes.
Can we, like, okay,
I want to keep on this article because I'm loving it so far, but no, do not lick the butthole. Don't.
Oh my God.
I'm just really enjoying Monkey saying over and over again, don't lick butt. It's just...
You're going to get pink eye, and it's going to be your fault.
How many dingleberries do you think he gets in one lick?
Oh, okay.
I suppose it depends on the dude.
And it's something many of us are afraid to discuss because we aren't used to being honest about our needs, our own needs and expectations, which is why so many of us are having horrible sex. But why are we so ashamed of what brings us desire? Why are we afraid that we may throw our legs back or get on our stomachs and arch correctly and learn that we may like something new? Is our understanding of what we can discuss publicly really that constricting?
Oh my God. Okay, but like you can you can experience new things sexually without licking butt.
You know what? Here's the thing. Even if you do like licking ass, it doesn't have to be a public discussion.
Too late. Let me get this out of the way. If you are reading this right now and can no longer stomach the conversation because of understandings of what should and should not be discussed in relation to sex, it's almost like he was psychic. I'll conclude quickly. Eat an ass and save a life. For others, keep reading and get your everlasting life. Shall I continue?
Wait.
Yes.
So ass licking is the fountain of youth.
Yeah, I was about to say Ponce de Leon went after ass.
Oh my God! Keep going. Okay.
You know how the Holy Grail has always been like. So, oh no, it was misinterpreted. It was the Sang Grail. It was the Blood Royal. Yeah, the fountain of youth was actually assholes.
I knew it.
Okay. All right. Hold on. All right. So let's learn about everlasting life through analingus. All right.
Well, Monkey is an ass man.
Our aversion to discussing bodily pleasure and autonomy is deeply and wrongly viewed in, quote, what's done in the bedroom should be left in the bedroom, unquote. Yes. The perception of sexual pleasure and lack of access to sexual health services and resources can Lack of
What does
health
that have
services.
to do with licking butt?
I don't know yet. I'm trying to get there. And lack of access to sexual health services and resources create an uptick of bedroom inexperience. What? Not to mention increases in sexually transmitted infections.
Stop licking ass.
To be sure, it's the lack of informed sex, not sex itself, that makes public health conversations so unnecessarily difficult. It's an outdated model that's even backed up by evidence, and we should focus on promoting sexually healthy young people. Understanding sexual pleasure isn't just fun, it's crucial. Okay. There are some notions in there that I would tend to agree with on a broad level, although how they're combined into this, I don't understand. Many people are acting as though Union made comments like, quote, the earth is flat. No, she didn't make comments like the earth is flat. No. No, she talked about licking ass. And asked for money to prove it. What? Oh, okay, I see. Okay. Rather, she just asked people to recognize something we should have learned, but we're afraid to discuss when younger. Sex and reciprocity. This is a novel concept.
I hope you're proud of that, Scribe.
I don't know pride. I know only shame. As the complicated, personable lead in Being Mary Jane, both on and off screen, Union is known to not pull any punches. How about any donkey punches? Often asking us to call into question the meanings of autonomy and consent and why both are necessary, particularly in a pervasive rape culture.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
She has allowed us a glimpse of her past and present, often discussing personal moments like struggles with infertility and her own sexual assault. Last year, she even wrote a heartbreaking and thought-provoking letter regarding actor and producer Nate Parker and, quote, the birth of a nation, unquote, in which she played a survivor of a rape that sparked a movement. And this is the author talking now. I've come to realize that many people are unable to take in Union's authenticity because it reminds them of who they choose to never be. But Union uses her platform to shape real conversations about our lived experience. This is just buzzword central here. Our lived experiences. I've always appreciated her candor because it allows us to question our bodies and pleasures.
Jesus Christ.
That was
a word salad.
There's about a page and a half left of this. You want me to finish it?
You have 2 super chats. You should probably do those first.
Yeah, I should probably do those too. Wow, they really moved by real quick. Hold on. Yoink. Where'd they go? All right. Thank you, Chatmort. Fricking E. coli is not the key to immortality. Unless you are E. coli.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, W.R. Costin. Could you do an ad for a movie to be released in 2067 adverse, based on the bio of the first Emperor of Earth, me? The bio was written by you, the screenplay was written by SDA, and directed by Grandbaby.
I get left out completely.
Yeah, fuck Monkey.
Who gives a shit about him?
All right, WR, that's
all right.
That is a project.
I would pick Grand Monkey over me every day.
Let's see. And I have to give one little caveat real quick, guys. I have a particularly busy work day tomorrow, so I am going to do my best to get all of these done in time for tomorrow night's stream. If for whatever reason I am cut short on time and can't get them all done, I will tell you at the beginning of the stream, and I'll carry them over into Thursday night's stream. So just a warning, I'm going to do my best. It may happen, but I will let you know. Thank you. Sorry, Mike.
I'm all for sexual education. Booty licking ain't part of that. It can be. I mean, you need to know. You need to really, really scrub that ass clean if you're going to be licking on it. Otherwise, you can get really sick. And I'm not being mean there. If that's what you're into, good for you. Make sure, take the toilet brush to it or whatever. But I don't understand how this is a needed part of public discourse. There are sexual manuals you can go look up if you want to look into butt licking. I'm all for trying new things. Give it a try. There's things I'm not going to try. I don't care how good you tell me it feels, like ass licking. But if that's your thing, that's great. Fine. But why does it have to be a public conversation? I don't get, and this isn't puritanical shit. I don't really care about your escapades in the bedroom that are normal. Unless I'm looking for porn, in which case I'm going to video and probably not going to see you anyway. But
sorry.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Terry Diamantis. Just quit your job so you have time to write ads. Yeah. Thanks, Terry. I'll get right on that.
He needs a lot more ads for that to happen.
Yeah.
I guess now it's the thing to be super open about everything you do and like overshare. I mean, but she's even oversharing other shit. Like, we know all the details about her sexual assault because that's totally something that everybody needs to know.
Yeah, we don't need to know everything you do. We really don't. Now, I realize I share more than other people, but most of what I share comes from people asking me questions. It's done for entertainment here on a channel. These people are talking about making this part of public discourse.
Maybe if you're German, minding freedom, are you in there somewhere? Do you know is licking ass a dinner table topic over in Germany? I assume it is. I assume so. Scheisse porn and everything else.
Scheisse.
Okay. Well, I don't think I need to read any more of that. Gabrielle Union apparently thinks she is the center of some universe that only exists in her head. So,
well, this guy obviously thinks so too. And can I just say that I find it problematic? I'm going to use their word to equate oral sex and getting your booty licked. Those no. No. Just no.
Let me do this last one, also from Jack Cochran, also from The Root. This probably won't be no, it's not a very long article, but
before you do that.
Oh, okay. Yes.
The person you really do need to have this conversation with, though, is whoever your partner is. That's where it's important to have these discussions. Sorry, go ahead.
In private, in your bedroom.
Yes.
Far, far away from the children.
Especially if it's about butt licking.
That too. All right. So this also comes from The Root. I don't know how funny it'll be, but here we go. Only Major League Baseball player to kneel during anthem denied service at Alabama restaurant. Bruce Maxwell, the first and only Major League Baseball player to kneel during the national anthem, says he, quote, wasn't even home 4 hours, 4 is in the number, 4 hours, before he had to deal with a pro-Donald Trump supporter who was still big mad. And I'm reading it as it's written because this
big mad. He was big mad.
This comes from Anne Brannigan at The Root, who was still big mad over the ball player's gesture. The Oakland Athletics player told TMZ Sports that he had just returned to his hometown of Huntsville, Alabama, and was grabbing lunch with a friend when he was denied service by a server. Quote, he was like, "You're the guy who took the knee," Maxwell told the online media outlet. The server then told Maxwell that he voted for Trump and that he, quote, stands for everything Trump stands for. Somehow, that doesn't sound like how real people talk, but okay, moving on.
That didn't happen.
Right? Like, did we all just have that exact same thought? Like, oh, this is an interesting story.
Yes.
Let's see. Quote, he denied us service at lunch and they had to go get us another waiter to wait on our table at the same restaurant, the 26-year-old catcher said. Maxwell's lunch companion, also black. Oh, is Maxwell black?
Like that's relevant?
No.
I don't know. I
put a link to another story about this with his picture so you can see him. He's like light brown.
Okay.
So he's like irate bear black.
No, irate bear's irate bear's like the driven snow.
Poor bear.
He's a polar bear. All right. Maxwell's lunch companion, also black, is a Huntsville city councilman. After the confrontation, the councilman spoke with the restaurant's manager and was able to get another server to wait on them. Coincidentally, Trump's infamous remarks expressing his wish that NFL owners could fire any son of a bitch who kneels during the national anthem were delivered at a campaign rally in Huntsville. And in fact, during the exchange at the restaurant, the pro-Trump server told Maxwell that he was at Trump's rally.
No, This
doesn't sound like a conversation people like. The waiter walks up to a baseball player and a councilman and says, "Just so you know,
Doesn't that sound like the beginning of a bad joke?
Doesn't that sound like career suicide? Or job suicide, at least. Trump's incendiary remarks were a clear allusion to Colin Kaepernick, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Quote, if it ends up driving me out of baseball, then so be it, Maxwell said at the time. This is bigger than a monetary standpoint. I'm reading it as it's written. Not. This is bigger than the uniform I put on every day. This is about the people in this country, and we all deserve to be treated equally. Great, Maxwell, give me half of your paycheck. Oh, wait, that's right. No, we don't deserve to be treated equally. We earn what we have. Anyway, that's the whole purpose of us taking a knee during the national anthem. No, it's not. It's virtue signaling. That's what it is. Let's see. Since then, he's become friends with the former quarterback, Kaepernick, who is still without a job. Oh, did you see the thing today where it's like they're pondering whether or not Canada football would take Kaepernick?
Oh God, that's
No.
awful.
I'm not even kidding.
Banished to fucking Canada.
CNN Sports. I forget if there was a legitimate buzz going around or if somebody was just sort of musing abstractly. But yeah, there's like, would Canada take Colin Kaepernick since he's been apparently blackballed from the NFL? And I was like, well, if Canada says no, prepare to be kneeled at.
Blackballed.
Anyway, that's all we have for deep topics, I suppose. So we're basically at the bottom of the hour. Chat, it is your time. If you have questions or comments, or you want to really voice your thoughts on butt licking, which I'm sure is going to happen. Not that we haven't basically cornered the market on that here to begin with between tongue buttering and turtle caves, so it's nothing new. It's just more, it's just not so euphemistic.
Hey guys, I'll be right back.
Okay.
But why do you need to lick butthole?
I don't know. Okay, hold on. There's no need. There's no requirement in life that this happen. This is a complete desire. That's all it is.
But
it's a want, not a need.
Captain Bramble says his butt itches. Try VapoRub. I hear it helps. Don't do that. Please don't.
Do you have a wife? Perhaps she could tongue massage it.
Oh, she could scratch it for you.
With her tongue.
Has Ferg answered the cereal soup question? Ask Backscan 3030.
God damn it. Get it over with.
Ferg, are you still there? He's muted.
Oh. Okay, we'll wait for him.
When he gets back, we'll ask him.
When he gets back, we'll ask. Okay.
Pincalo says it's another set of nerve endings, Ranting Monkey. Yes. At your butthole.
But I poop from there.
You have nerve endings all over your body.
Captain Bramble says that's why it itches, because you put Vicks VapoRub on it. Okay, got it. What else? Canada has had football. Is it American football or soccer? No, it's American football. It's they have the Canadian
Football League. Yeah,
and the CFL. Nothing for you here says, what do you think about the detection and recording of gravitational waves? Well, we all knew, we've known they existed since the 60s because the Silver Surfer.
Well done.
Let's see.
I don't really have thoughts on it.
Yeah, anything that's scientific, that's discovered and proven from like a theory from long ago is great. It expands our understanding of the universe. I don't know what use it is to know about gravitational waves, but then, discovering one thing leads to other things.
Sylvanus says, what's done in the bedroom stays in the bedroom. On a personal level, I would say, yeah. On a personal level, I would say yes. I have no problem with sex education and discussing sex in an open manner in the appropriate form. The way that article read, it's like, we should just talk about licking ass. No.
Yeah.
No. Ferg, you back with us?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
This was a question from chat. Do you think cereal is soup?
It's definitely not soup.
Another blasphemer.
Thank God for small favors. New Fate 26 asks, thoughts on the movie The Faculty? I think The Faculty was Robert Rodriguez's attempt to make Invasion of the Body Snatchers for a contemporary audience. And I think it was one of the first times I ever saw Josh Hartnett in a movie. That's what I think of The Faculty.
BG wants to know what I would do if Lady Monkey came home with the strap on. I would be confused. I would be very, very confused.
Scotch was watching John Carpenter's The Thing, and that's why he was late. Well, if there's ever a good excuse for being late, John Carpenter's The Thing is a good one.
The Jack Cochran says, can you use Vapo Rub to mustache wax your afro taint? We'll have to ask Day when she gets back.
Yeah. Nothing for you here follows up. Now we have discovered them and recorded them. We can work towards reproducing them artificially. Space travel, inertial dampeners, warp drive-like tech would all become possible. Well, then, by all means, but first and foremost, moon base. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Moon base. Scribelight, have you seen John Carpenter's The Thing? Really? You must ask me that question.
I want to go back to the gravity waves here. Just because we can now record them doesn't mean we didn't know they were there, or at least suspect they were there. If you look at Star Trek, one of the great things about Star Trek, until you get to the later stuff, Gene Roddenberry insisted that everything at least be based in theoretical science. That's why so much of Star Trek has turned out to be real. So the ideas that we could do that have always been there. I don't think necessarily recording them is going to help us any, because you're talking about gravity waves that are created, as far as we know, because of the giant mass we're on, and reproducing the giant mass we're on is going to be difficult.
Joys of Sorrow says, Scribelight, what's your opinion on sci-fi channels dedicated to vehicle and equipment profiling from various sci-fi games, movies, and TV shows? Is it monetarily worthwhile to venture into? Not quite sure I understand, but I mean, profiling fictional technology and going into it on a nerd level is how we got to the cell phone. So I'm all for it, I guess, in that way, because, you know, the cell phone was inspired in part, or at least some of the designs, from the Star Trek communicator, and, you know, people have to be inspired somewhere, so sure.
Yeah, if you're asking about like a YouTube channel dedicated to that, I think it could be worthwhile if it's presented right.
Zenith asks, why is it called John Carpenter's The Thing and not just The Thing? Is Carpenter a little that egotistical? No, it's to distinguish it from the original film, The Thing from Another World, the Howard Hawks movie from, I want to say, 56 or 7, I forget. Yeah, so when you're talking about The Thing, are you talking about where James Arness is a Frankenstein-like monster in the base, or are you talking about John Carpenter's The Thing, which is the best horror sci-fi movie in the world? Well, maybe not the horror, maybe not the best, but it's one of the best, in my opinion.
Net wants to know if we think it's genocide if you slaughter thousands of people or vampires in a video game.
No, because they're fake.
That was easy.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do back in Oblivion was, when I was done with the session, I would just go into a town and just start killing everybody until I died.
Yeah, just have a save file and just go and like slaughter everybody and just see what happens. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I do that in GTA too.
Weebo Jones says, should I be worried that someone spent money buying me a magazine subscription to Cosmo with my dad's email to my non-college address, and of the 5 women in my life, it wasn't one of them?
It's probably your boyfriend. He probably saw one of those bullshit headlines, you know, 500 ways to have great sex, and then you open it and there's like 3 things listed in there.
If you see someone from Cosmo walking slowly behind you at night, then be worried.
Be very worried.
Let's see. Ranting Monkey, have you seen the movie Cloak and Dagger? Oh
God, a long time ago.
Dabney Coleman, Cloak and Dagger. That was the first movie I ever saw that I think that's where I first ever learned the concept of role-playing games, is when they're rolling dice and he's got Jack Flack and he's running around and everything. And the secret elderly Russian agents in that thing. I love that movie. I got a copy on VHS around here somewhere. Let's see. Xena says, it ain't called Philip Kaufman's Invasion of the Body Snatchers to distinguish it from the original, just saying. You're right. But that's how they promoted it, and that's how it's known. So, because it says, I believe it said on the original posters, John Carpenter's The Thing to distinguish it. So, I just call it Invasion of the Body Snatchers 79 versus Invasion of the Body Snatchers 56. So. Let's see. Make Europe Strong Again. Do you like In the Mouth of Madness? We talked about this on the Horror Fest stream we did the other day. I love In the Mouth of Madness. It's one of the most Lovecraftian-ish movies you can find, and Sam Neill is just fun to watch. It's got its problems, but I've always liked it.
Nothing for You Here says, what do you think is the deal with places like The Root and being everything they hate? Is it projection or some kind of amoral of social dominance? I don't think they put very much thought into things. Logic is not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not loved as much as it used to be. It's not giving the respect it used to be. Now it's all about just feelings. I'll bring this up here. It seems like a good time. On my stream with No Bullshit, somebody asked, do I think that the problems that we have with like social justice and stuff stem from giving women the right to vote? And honestly, yes, I do. But I don't blame just them. I also blame the men who won't call them on their bullshit. Generally speaking, women are more emotional. They're more about feelings. And I've had many conversations with women in my life where they will admit that their logic is flawed, but it's because of how they feel. They don't want to feel bad. Like, for instance, with having a bit of Brit on this Sunday, she is very big. What's the word I'm looking for? She really hates the body positivity movement. And a lot of people who can clearly see that being, 400 pounds is going to kill somebody don't want to tell them, hey, you need to stop fucking eating. You're going to kill yourself, because they don't want to hurt their feelings. And there's this problem in our society with instantaneous results instead of long-term results. And I do blame it mostly on women, because it's all about the feeling. It's about what feels good right now. You can watch somebody literally killing themselves doing something, and you won't stop them from doing it because you might hurt their feelings. Well, that's not actually good intentions. What you're doing there is you're actually harming them more. And so, yes, I do blame women for a lot of that. And then I blame men who go along with this shit, because generally speaking, men are a lot more logical, and what they should be doing is going, no, that's fucking stupid. We shouldn't go down this road. That makes no fucking sense. Talking about licking butt in public, it makes no fucking sense. So there's a combination of women having too much influence and men being too afraid to stand up to their stupid shit. And I think it has manifested in things like The Root and everyday feminism and every SJW bullshit that pops up.
I think The Root's just basically an outlet that has refined the art of clickbait. And,
hi guys, sorry about that.
Yeah, it doesn't take its material as seriously as they want you to think they do. Basically, the article that really did that for me was actually two articles. The Star Wars article in particular. And secondly, the one where they fielded mailbag questions like, wouldn't you be offended if somebody did material that was as racist as your stuff? And they go like, no. Like, yeah. Now, you guys, I think it might be a mixture depending on who's writing which blog article, whether or not they're a true believer or just doing it for the clicks, essentially. But I think places like The Root, Everyday Feminism, etc., thrive on just clickbait and outrage manufactured and not necessarily believed by the people writing it.
When we're talking about the Star Wars article, I would absolutely agree with you. But those mailbag questions, I don't for a minute think that guy was being facetious. I think that he genuinely believes that if an article was written exactly like black people as it was by white people, there would be no issue. Because there's no common sense.
Yeah.
Sylvanas asked the question, so which article pissed you off more, the math one or the butt one? Now, the butt one is funnier, but the math one, if we're Talking reality, the math one pisses me off more because it's just fucking,
Yeah,
it's racist as fuck.
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all the racists. I mean, it's honestly that's more racist than a KKK rally. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and it's compounded by the fact that this is coming from somebody who has a professorship, teaches children stuff, and this is how she operates. Now, it may be entirely possible that when she's teaching mathematics, she leaves all of her politics at the door. I can only hope. But at the same time, if this is how she looks at her students, yeah, I wouldn't. If I had a child, I would not want my child being taught by that woman. Let's put it that way. Let's see. New Fate says, is there any chance of a studio swallowed by EA regaining their former level of quality and prestige and being destroyed within years of its acquisition? At this point, probably not. Not unless the autonomy is not unless EA just sort of holds on to it in care of somebody else, but probably not.
I know people hate EA. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm done.
I know people hate EA. But they are a business, and the reason they are one of the biggest game companies out there is because they are a business, and they insist that the people that they acquire follow their model, which often leads to games being pushed out early, or this shit with microtransactions being more important than the game. Games being shipped with bare bones shit. I'm not a fan of EA. I hate that they do that. But the reason they do that is because that's how business works. So once you go down that route, there's no getting back out of it. We've never really seen, the closest we've seen to a company leaving a big acquisition like that, the core original people, and kind of making something again, would be the guys who made Torchlight after they left Blizzard. But otherwise, you just don't see it because, well, one, they have the money now, so they don't need it, and they lose their property, and most of the time, the reason they get acquired is because they had a really good idea, or they presented it very well, and it's hard to replicate that.
Let's see. What else we got? Any other questions, guys? I see a lot of... did you see the article about the woman teacher won't answer questions in class from white guys, says Joel McLaughlin. I missed that article. I missed that article, but I can believe it, all things considered.
She actually has a whole hierarchy of how she answers questions.
Oh, wait, that's right. I saw the tweet or something about it, I think. I didn't see an article about it. I haven't seen this. Yeah, and I've seen the tweet.
Somebody send that to me.
Kingsley asks, what SJW talking point do you guys hate the most? Just about anything dealing with the claim of the benefits of diversity. As a general, it's a big umbrella topic because there are a ton of interpretations of what that exactly means, which I've covered several times. But yeah, that in general is kind of my biggest pet peeve, I suppose.
For me, it's the...
I really...
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. You first.
Okay. I really hate the whole black people can't do anything. Like, they can't speak English correctly. They can't math, and words can't triangle just because they're black and they need the white people to dumb everything down for them. I think that's probably the most insulting one.
For me, it's that same thing, but on a broader scale, because it's not just applied to blacks. It's applied to women, too.
Yeah.
Women are strong and independent, when men let them be. Women are the majority, and if they're being held down, it's not my fault because there's more of you than there are of us. So,
well, yeah, and women, we're strong and independent as long as you say it's okay.
Yes, as long as we let it happen. Anything that devalues the person's ability to be their own person, I fucking hate that.
You got a pet peeve there, Ferg?
Pet peeve. From SJWs or regular pet peeve?
SJW talking points.
Their whole life's a pet peeve, but basically projection's the worst of it because it just baffles me.
That's a good one too. All good answers. Damn. It's like they suck overall.
BG has asked a couple times, leather, lace, or latex. I have dealt with all three.
Lace.
Lace.
I like lacy stuff.
Lacy green?
No.
Oh.
I like clothes.
No.
Again, I like to look at it in pictures, but I prefer naked.
BG also wants to know, Ferg, what's your favorite type of porn?
I told him scat.
Oh, okay.
Oh God.
Yeah, barf.
In order of this, in honor of this conversation, but
You're officially my least favorite guest.
no, it's definitely Asian.
Oh,
Yep,
nice.
Okay.
that's what it is.
Oh, so hentai, huh? Sounds good.
Oh, onegaishima. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, a secret German, says Net.
Uh,
Not much of a secret.
Backscan says, don't forget to hit that like button, y'all.
Yeah,
Backscan.
we have, from my view, we have 69 likes, which is a pretty good number in and of itself. But 133 people watching. Can we get to at least 100 before the show ends?
Is your boy Pat in the chat? I don't think I saw him.
I haven't seen him tonight.
I haven't seen that guy forever.
Pat, where are you?
He was here last night. He comes by quite often.
I know, but I'm upset.
Oh well.
Faith is abdication of reason says they're saying white men are the best at everything and it's just not fair. That's really what they're saying.
Yeah.
That white men are the best. And one, I've known a lot of white men that I wouldn't trust with a fucking fidget spinner, but it is so insulting to oh God, sorry. Scotch wants to know if I've seen the movie Labyrinth. Yes, and I'm probably the only person I've ever met that didn't like it.
I didn't like parts of it. Like, I mean, I saw it as a kid, so it has, like we were talking the other day about the horror movies. It has a sentimental etching on my heart just because I was a kid when I watched it the first time. I watch it now, and it's like, I can see the cracks in the facade, so to speak. But
did you see Jordan 250? Vic's
No.
Vajo rub.
Oh God, did he do that? Good for you, Jordan.
I wait until usually about halfway through the stream, I'll close Twitter and I won't open it back up until we're done, just to see what all pops up in the memes there.
Well, I like the Steve Shives projectionist one especially.
Yes, that one was good.
Let's see. Joel McLaughlin says, do SJWs realize that their virtue signaling does more damage to their cause? I think not. Now, I mean, from their perspective, and when we've talked about this before, rare is it the case that anyone imagines themselves to be the villain.
Mm-hmm.
So from their perspective, they're pointing out the secret truth that everybody else is denying and need to acknowledge in order to make the world a safer place. But of course, the way that they're doing it vilifies people or diminishes people on the basis of race or gender, orientation, or whatever else, because the only way that their theories work is if they group everyone by superficial characteristics in order to make their point. So their intentions are, well-meaning, sort of, but yeah, they're blind to it because honestly, if they had to stop and actually think for a second about what they are saying and what they are implying by the things that they are demonizing some for, or raising other people up for, they would have to admit to themselves that they are doing a moral wrong. And I don't think most people's egos could survive that revelation. So it's easier to go along with the flow than to stop and think about it too long.
Well, yeah, you hit on it perfectly there, because as dumb as these people are, and as much as I think they're doing horrible things, they don't see it that way. Like Steve Shives' video, when he made that, he honestly thought he was telling men a good way to behave, the way you should act, and fuck.
Yeah. This is why it's hard for me so a lot of people say, I hate SJWs. I don't hate SJWs. I don't hate anybody who says something that I disagree with. I might lose respect for somebody like that teacher in Illinois who starts saying all this stuff because she's promoting racist ideology, whether she wants to admit it or not. Now, is she a racist at heart? I can't say. I mean, she says racist things, and maybe she holds beliefs that by any outward estimation would be racist. Does she actually believe that she is a racist? I doubt it, but she's blind to what she's promoting somehow.
If you look at something very popular like affirmative action, I mean, Sargon debated that Thomas dude about affirmative action at MythCon, and I don't understand how in this day and age we can still look at affirmative action and go, that's not racist. But there's people who do it or not sexist.
Mm-hmm.
They honestly believe that the way to fight racism or sexism is with more racism or sexism.
Fire with fire.
Yeah, and I don't know how you get through to those people, but like you said, I don't hate anybody I've made a video about. I don't actually hate them that I can think of.
Yeah.
I disagree with them on this stuff, and I would argue to my dying breath with them about this stupid shit. But even somebody like Michael Rowlands, who is just a dumbass, I could probably sit down and have dinner with the guy and talk about anything other than this kind of shit and have no problem, because he doesn't seem evil to me.
Yeah.
He's just an idiot, and there's a lot of idiots out there.
Weibo says, do you ever have moments where you doubt your own beliefs, notions, etc.? Every day.
All the time.
Every day. I learned very early on, basically. So real short story, and I've told this one before, but prior to my doing something as stupid as messing around with a married woman, I thought the people on Jerry Springer were idiots. Okay? After I did that, I realized I am capable of anything just because I am just a human being and I am flawed and I make mistakes, and anything I might believe about myself on Monday might not be true on Tuesday on the basis of my own actions, revelations, or otherwise. So for very many years now, I don't take anything that I think for sure at face value, because, and it's not like I walk around on eggshells second guessing myself on everything. But if I come up against somebody who obviously knows a lot more about a subject than I do, I will ask questions and I will open up to the possibility that I might either learn something or have something I believe to be true challenged, and not be scared of that.
I've said this I haven't said it in a while, but I've said many times on the stream, I go into every argument I have assuming I'm the dumbest person involved.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much I know about the subject, there's always somebody who's going to know more than you, or who's going to be looking at it in a way you haven't thought of. And I go into it willing to change my mind every single time. And there's many times it's happened. I've changed my mind on a lot of stuff, but I think if you're going to be and if you want to be, I don't want to say smart, but if you want to be smart, you have to constantly challenge yourself.
Yeah, and I think that kind of fuels the way that I do my videos, even though I get snarky at times, and if somebody says something that's demonstrably wrong, I'll point it out. But if you look at my videos, most of the time, even if I'm being sarcastic about it, I'm asking questions. Almost everything is like this, or I repeat back what they said to try to understand, because I really want to understand where they're coming from. Even if I think they're wrong, I still want to understand and open up to the possibility that maybe they'll say something that changes my mind. It's happened a couple of times, not in any major way, but they've said something that makes sense, and I'll immediately say, I completely agree with you on that point, and move on. So
I'd like to add. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ferg.
Oh, I was just going to say, I like to take my self-criticism on a case-by-case basis. Say you're debating a bunch of hysterical feminist wingnuts. There's nothing they're going to say to change my mind, because I basically made up my mind. The conclusion is there. Stuff like veganism, I'm way more open about that because I'm not as sure of it. Or if I was talking to an actual economist, I would definitely take the position that I'm the dumbest person in the room. But when you're facing the radicals, I don't see a problem really with, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying my opinion is I don't see a problem with being confident and sure of yourself that you are correct, because there's nothing these religious hysterical lunatics are going to teach me besides other ways to fight their hysteria in a lot of cases.
I've had arguments before where people have who was it? It was the Milo Stewart video with Roaming Millennial, where Milo says, don't go into an argument thinking you're right. I would never enter an argument thinking I was wrong, because that would be insane.
Mm-hmm.
But I go into the argument with the possibility I might be wrong. Acknowledging that even somebody like Christy Winters could say something that would make me go, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way. Plus, there's also the case-by-case basis. Yes, if I'm just arguing with a radical femme about the wage gap, I'm very confident in my argument on that. But if there's a individual case of the wage gap, say like what Google's going through right now, where they're fighting it, but they've been found to underpay women. That is another place where you can have a case-by-case argument on things. So it does kind of depend on what you're talking about. And yes, I do have confidence in my argument, but I've also been proven wrong enough that I don't want to say my confidence is shaken, but I'm humble about it.
Right, of course. I take the more. I'm such an asshole, to be honest, and I think that's a big reason why my YouTube channel, it's just static and me being gone and stuff. But I like Scribe. I tell Scribe this all the time. I probably told him 3 times actually, to be more specific. But I envy him so much because he's so calm and collected in his videos, and he just questions something and he's like, "Got it."
Hey, Ferg. Hey,
Yeah.
Ferg. Ferg.
Yes. Oh, I see.
Is cereal soup?
We've done this already. You were gone.
Have we?
Did
Did I miss it?
Yeah, you were gone.
He said yes, it is.
You said yes. No, he didn't.
See, I was hoping Scribe
No.
would lose his cool on me.
I said it wasn't soup, or
Yeah.
it wasn't. It was.
No,
What?
you can't
Now I'm
take that shit
confused.
back. No, it's not soup. Thank you for playing.
We
Yes,
did
it's not
there was
soup,
something.
correct.
There's something we forgot to cover when you were gone. I forget who asked. It might have been Jack. They wanted to know if you can use Vapo Rub on your afro taint, kind of like mustache wax.
You can go fuck yourself. All of you. Just all of you.
Sweebo says, so Scribe Light have the approach of what most take away from the Stanford prison and Milgram experiments? No, it's not that I'm believing it because they say it. It's when I say got it, I'm usually just being one of 2 things depending on my tone. Either I'm being sarcastic because what they're saying is nonsense, or I'm just reiterating what they've said into terms that just to make sure I understand what they are saying before we move on. Because one of the advantages of looking at a video versus like watching somebody talk live is that you can go back and rethink what they've said versus what they will say later, etc. So that's why I sort of set these little waypoints in someone's argument of, you're saying this, let's just make sure I understand it. Understood, next point, and that kind of thing.
Monkey Dick Jim Jones movies. Hit that like button.
Yes.
Yeah, since it's 3 minutes before the 11. Again, if you guys want to continue the fun, I'm going to be streaming on Clever Jester's Twitch channel, which is linked in the description. So if you don't want the fun to end, it doesn't have to.
Oh, Weibo says, I was referring to the everyone is capable of being assholes part. Everyone is capable of anything, from the greatest saint, as you might say, to the worst serial killer. Anyone is capable of anything. It just matters on the flexibility of your morality to do it. That's all.
Also, Jack Cochran gave us a link to a semen-based cookbook because he's an ass.
Wait, you mean like cooking things like on a submarine?
No.
Oh, okay.
I wish.
Yeah. 2-minute warning, guys. So this will be, by the time that I finish this sentence, it'll probably be 1 minute till, and we'll just wrap things up. But Make Europe Strong Again says, do you have a show that you think is funnier than Seinfeld?
So many.
Anything by
Theory.
Red Letter Media.
Scrubs was funnier than Seinfeld. I didn't think Seinfeld was all that funny. They had a couple of good shows, like the masturbation show is still classic, but for the most part, it wasn't that funny.
Scotch, we talked about Mediker's latest video last night on the stream, so go check out SDA's channel for that. We spent a few minutes on it. SDA got grossed out. We're not going to repeat that. Scribelight, but what about soup killers? Yeah, there's a reason they call them serial killers and not soup killers.
SDA gets grossed out by a lot of things. That doesn't really narrow it down, honestly.
I know. Well, by the time we wrap up, it'll be over with. So, chat, thank you so much for coming out tonight, as you always do, and being so participatory and giving us sometimes good questions, sometimes disgusting ones, whichever works. Moderators, thank you so much for keeping an eye on things over the course of the stream. Everyone who donated, thank you so much. Again, I'll be working very hard to get everything done by tomorrow night's stream. If I miss the mark, I will let you know. Monkey, SDA, as always, thank you for joining me. Ferg, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Haven't talked to you in quite a while.
It's my pleasure.
And guys, we'll be on Monkey's channel tomorrow night. And be sure to go check out SDA on Clever Jester's Twitch stream. The link is in the description below right after this broadcast. So everyone, have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Seriously.
Yeah.